Hey everyone, it's Eric with Just Add Power, and in this video, we're looking at how to control an AMP standardized system using RTI's Integration Designer 9 program. As you can see, I've already got the program open. We've added our processor. We've added one of our control interfaces. We're just using a virtual panel here, but these instructions will work for whatever interface you happen to have. And the first thing we have to do is we have to load the drivers that go along with a standardized AMP system. You get those from the Just Add Power website. Scroll down to the control system section. We go to RTI, and we've got a lot of drivers here depending on the type of system you're doing, but we are doing an AMP standardized, so we're going to grab that one, and we're going to grab a download for that. Open that up, and we just need to put these files in our Integration Designer drivers folder, wherever that might happen to be. Control drivers. There we go. So you've got two files that we're going to be using. We've got the multi-TXRX comms driver that does our endpoint control, like TVs going on and off, volume up, down, source control. And then we've got our JPSW, that's our switching driver. So as long as you have those two drivers downloaded, loaded into your Integration Designer folder, control drivers, we'll be able to pull it into RTI. So let's do that. We'll head back to RTI, Integration Designer 9. All right, and we've got to load those drivers we just downloaded. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the switching driver. There were two drivers in that package. We want the JPSW, that is the switching driver. So we're going to pick that guy. We're going to hit open. Every Just Add Power project needs one of these drivers. This is the one that says this source show on this display, no matter how big your system happens to be. We can change the size of that. We'll do all that in just a moment, but we're just going to get this guy loaded. And then if you are doing endpoint control, meaning you're turning TVs on or off, volume up, down, turning sources on or off, controlling that through the Just Add Power system, or if you're doing a video wall or you're doing a tiler, you're also going to need one of the multi-TXRX comms driver. So this will control all your Just Add Power devices in one driver. Same with the switching. So mandatory, JPSW, optional, depending on if you're using the functions that are built on it. So to set up these drivers, we have to have built the system already so we know the size of our system. So we're going to we're going to pull this over here. No, we don't want that. Wow. We want the report file from the AMP standardized when we set up the system. So we've already built the system. It's sitting right here. We're just going to pull up that report file. This is the most important document from your project. It's got all of your Just Add Power stuff, where it is, what the IPs are, what the, most importantly, output and input numbering is, because this is how RTI is going to read your inputs and your outputs. It's not going to care what ports are attached to. If you have multiple switches, it doesn't care which switch it's on. It's only concerned with your output number and your input number, and that's judged by this column right here. Now, we've gone and added a column for our displays and our sources because we know what room each TV is in. We know what source is attached to each transmitter. So we've already got that labeled in here. This was the inventory part of the project. We've got a 4x4 system, so we've got 4 rooms, and we've got 4 sources set up. We've got a little bit of room for expansion in case we wanted to add some more stuff, but for now we just got a 4x4. So we're going to take the information in the report file on the right, and we're going to move it over into the driver on the left. So first thing you're going to need to know is the primary Just Add Power device IP. Now this can be any of the Just Add Power devices in the system. We use one of the devices as the controller box. So the driver talks to a Just Add Power device in the system. So we go 172.27.1.1. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, but it has to be one that is alive. We're going to pick the master bedroom just because it's 1.1. It's the first one. It's probably the most important one. And then a backup just in case the first one goes down. We'll do the first transmitter. Again, you can pick any of these active ones for either of the IP addresses. It's just your controller and your backup controller. Now, the next thing we do is we say how many inputs and how many outputs. We've got 4 inputs in the system, 4 active inputs, And for outputs, we've got 4 outputs. This doesn't actually care what the overall size of the system. You'll see we got 8 receivers, and 5 transmitters that were built for, but we've got blanks. So really this part on RTI is just for kind of keeping an inventory. And since we only have 4 active, we only need to list the 4 that are active. We can always go back later and change that if we do decide to add our 5th input. It'll just pop out a 5th input there, but more for bookkeeping. So we're going to go ahead and name stuff. Chromecast. And these names are going to show up in other places in the driver. It just makes our lives easier as we're keeping track of things. We'll go down to our TVs as well. And it's good to point out, I guess, at this point, that it supports a lot of outputs. So you can have like 1,000 outputs. And there's all our outputs. You don't necessarily have to name them. They can all just stay numbered. But the driver does allow you to make as big of a system as you can build with AMP. This is really just for, do you want to deal with 1,000 outputs when you only have 4? Probably not. So just keep it at the size that we actually have. So we've got our 4 inputs. We've got our 4 outputs named. So that's the easy part done, putting in the properties and the IP addresses of the devices in the system. Now it's on to programming the user interface. Now we're going to use a virtual panel as our interface. This will work on any RTI panel. It's really just about the functions we're going to use to give the user the ability to control the system. There's 3 different ways in the driver to handle source switching. First thing you can do is what we call single output. So we just want to give the user a single button to say one thing watches one thing. So we've got a couple of buttons here. We've got output 1 to input 1, out 1 in 2, out 1 in 3, out 1 in 4. We'll just look at what that looks like. So we'll go to properties, we'll go to our driver command, we'll select the JPSW driver, and then we'll go to the single or all outputs mode. And then we've got switch one output, switch all outputs, or go to the next or previous, like a channel up and down almost. All right, so we'll start with switch output. So our input 1, Chromecast, and our output 1 is master bedroom. So right now I've got pushing this button causes the Chromecast to show in the master bedroom, because master bedroom is our first output. Okay, we get a little C right there in the corner. That's it. If we want to do same master bedroom, but we want to let it watch a different source, we give another button, master bedroom still, and then the Apple TV. Keep going. Switch output, master bedroom, Blu-ray player, and then let's just save ourselves a little headache. Copy, paste, edit, and gaming. So we've got 4 buttons that go source 1, source 2, source 3, source 4 in the master bedroom. So you give them a page for the master bedroom page, you give them 4 buttons for 4 sources. Boop, 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 and boop. Now maybe they want to cycle through the sources. So they're in the master bedroom and they say, well, I'm on this one, but I want to go to the next source in line. So we do output 1 to next input. Same idea all the way through to output previous or next input. So we say we're in the master bedroom still, and I want to go to the next one. So if I'm on source 1, it's going to hit me to source 2. If I'm on 2, it goes to 3. 3, it goes to 4. 4 goes back around to 1. And then we can go the other direction. Paste. Previous. So now I can go back and forth. And then the last option within that subsection of the driver is all outputs. So maybe I want to make everything in the house go to Chromecast, every single TV, or goes to Apple TV. So those are my options for single output switching. Next, we'll look at output then input. So this is a way to do switching where you pick the TV first with one button, and then you pick the source that you want to do for the second button. just a different way of doing it than single output where one button does everything. So we're going to look at how do I have a button select an output. I'm going to go to my driver command again. We'll do our JPSW. And then we go to the second option, which is select output, then input. So select is going to kind of turn that TV on or set that TV as, hey, I want to do something to it. So we're going to do the master bedroom. That's selected. So when I hit that button, it's going to go master bedroom. Okay, cool. I'm on. What do you want to do with me? We can also do the same exact idea for a toggle. We're going to do the same thing, except instead of select, it's a toggle, still with the master bedroom here. So when I hit the top one that says select, it's going to pick the master bedroom. If I hit it again, it's just going to stay picked. But a toggle, I'm going to hit it once. It's going to say, yeah, I'm picked. I'm going to hit it again. It's going to go, okay, I'm not picked anymore. That's the difference between our select and our toggle. We'll do it for output 2 as well. Same idea. Select output. We'll go to our living room. We'll make a toggle for it as well, just so that you can see all of these. Toggle living room. And then once I've picked something, so if I have a toggle, I pick output 1, I hit it again, it turns off. Pick output 2, hit it again, it turns off. But if I use the select, I turn them on. How do I turn them off? So we have another function for turn all of the picked TVs off. And that's just clear output selection. There's no parameters. It just turns them all off. So you might be asking yourself, well, I picked it, but how does the user know they hit it? Like, what stops them from just hitting the select button a bunch of times? So we do have a variable that goes along with these. I'm going to use it for the reversed in this case for, well, I picked the master bedroom. Can you show me that it's been picked? So I've got my JPSW section, output selection, and then master bedroom. So that is now when they hit the button's going to change colors to say, hey, I'm picked. I'm going to do the same thing for the toggle output, have it do the master bedroom, and then we'll repeat that over for our second room, living room, and living room. All right, so we've got those set up for variables. It's not going to do anything here, but once we get the panel up, you'll see it. So I've got part 1. Part 1 is I want to pick a TV. Now we got to do part 2, which is what do you want to put on the TV? So we're going to go into our driver command again. We need to make sure we're still in the output then input section, and we're going to select an input. So this is going to be our Chromecast. And we'll do the set input to and our Apple TV. All right, so now the way we have it built is I'm in the master bedroom. Boop, I've selected the master bedroom. Now I want to watch the Chromecast. So boop, master bedroom, boop, Chromecast. Now I want to go to another room. First I need to clear, so get rid of the master bedroom. It's not selected anymore. Then I'm going to pick room 2, and then boop, pick our Chromecast. Okay, I've seen the Chromecast. Boop, pick the Apple TV because it's still selected. And then when I'm all done, clear once more. You've also got the option of giving your user a text indicator of what's currently being watched. So down here, we're going to do a text variable that changes when you change sources. So we got output 1 current input. We know output 1 is the master bedroom. And then current input. So what is the master bedroom currently watching? So we're going to go to a little question mark with the square thing around it. And we're going to go to our switching driver. We're going to go to current input name. So master bedroom is the room we're in. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us the name of the source the master bedroom is currently watching at this point. So hit OK there. It's blank on the interface, but when we load it, you'll see it. I'm going to do the same exact thing for the living room. Do the same thing. Question mark with the diamond. And current input name for the living room. Hit OK there. And you'll see it's blank for now. All right, at this point, let's upload to the processor to see what all this looks like once we're on our actual interface. So we've gone to our panel. We've done our panel and processor updates. Here it is right here. So we get our matrix control. And you'll see by default, we don't have anything in the master bedroom and living room that we can see just because we haven't told it to switch to anything yet. So let's start by going master bedroom, output 1. There we go. We've got our Chromecast showing up. Output 2, switch to the Apple TV. Output 3, Blu-ray player. And output 4, gaming. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We can go to our next input. Input 5, which doesn't exist right now. We've got our Chromecast, Apple TV, Blu-ray player, gaming. And then we go back through it. Blu-ray player, Apple TV, Chromecast. So we've got our back and forward. We can send everything to output 2 now. You'll notice both the master and living room go to Apple TV. Everything back to Apple 1, Chromecast to input both outputs. So now let's look at the output then input. So right now, let's put everything on the Chromecast. That's source 1. So we're going to select output 1. And see now it's turned green, saying it's selected. If I want to unselect it, hitting the select button, remember, it doesn't unselect. But the toggle will say it was selected. Now unselect. All right, so we're going to pick output 1. We're going to set input 2. There's our Apple TV. Then we want to move to a new room. If I just hit select, now both rooms are selected. So if I pick something, they're both going to switch. So instead, we just need to clear, wipe them both, select 2, set input 2, and then just room 2 changes. So we've got our little feedback here at the bottom. We've got our colors to say whether this room is selected or not. And then we've got our toggle and untoggle logic. So if nothing's selected and I hit set input 2 or set input 1, nothing changes because I haven't told it what to set. All right, let's go back and we'll look at our last method of source switching. Input then output, kind of like output then input, you just change the order of how you pick things. So this one we're going to say I want to pick my source first, and then I want to tap the places that I want the sources to go, or that source to go. So we go edit properties, back to our switching driver, and then we've got a category for input then output. So we want to start with our input. I'm going to select input 1, that's our Chromecast. Hit all right. Copy that over to our input 2, and all we got to do is change to the Apple TV. All right, so now these will pick the thing. So because it's a select, we also have variables. We can set our reversed state for input selection. So when the Chromecast is selected, the left one will turn green. When the Apple TV is selected, the right one will turn green. So now we know which one is selected. We also have a variable down here for selected input, same as the text variables for the other ones. Hit the little question mark diamond, go to input selection. Select input then output and current input selected. So there's our text there for, we've got a couple of ways to look at it, is which input selected, or, just give me the text of what's selected. And then our second half is, now I've picked the Chromecast, where do I want to watch the Chromecast? So we go back into our properties, driver command, input then output, set output. So we can actually do this in 3 different ways. We can do a single output, so set output and do our thing. We can do it as a range of outputs. So in this one, you list the receiver numbers that you want to switch. This is really useful for a video wall. You want to change all 4 of the TVs in your 2x2 video wall at the same time. You would do 1 through 4. We'll look at that in the video wall section in another video. And then you have the set all outputs. So just blam, set everything to whatever we have selected. It's kind of like the part on the left where single output is over here. And then we have clear input selection, but you don't really need clear input selection because, for example, if I select input 1, that's my Chromecast. Then if I hit select input 2, it's actually already going to deselect input 1. I can't have 2 inputs selected at once. So once 1 goes on, 2 will go off. If 2 goes on, 1 will go off. So we don't really need that part. So let's go back to set output 1, input then output. We'll do set a single output. That's our master bedroom. And then do the same thing for our input then output for our second room, our living room. All right, so let's update that on the processor again, and we'll see what that looks like on the interface. We'll shrink that down, pull up our interface. All right, back into matrix control. and you'll see we've already got some stuff selected, so let's clear all that. We're going over to the input then output section. So I'm going to select input 1, and we'll see our Chromecast is showing as selected, and our select input 1 is green. And if I select input 2, changes to Apple TV, input 1 unselects. So we're going to go select input 1, which is our Chromecast. And then we'll go down here. If you look here in the middle, both TVs are now watching Apple TV. So I've got the Chromecast selected. And if I change output 1, master bedroom, click, changes to the Chromecast. Same thing over here. Now I've still got the Chromecast selected, set output 2, boop, Chromecast. Switch over to the Apple TV, do the same thing. Set output 1, Apple TV, set output 2, Apple TV. So that's the 3 ways to do source switching through the Just Add Power Driver. We got single output, where it's just one button to do it all. Output, then input, if you'd rather pick the TV or the room, and then the source. The input, then output, where you pick the source first, and then you pick the TV second. If you have any questions or need any further assistance, please reach out to us at support, and thanks for watching.